Welcome back to the channel of Nonsense, everyone. Today I want to talk about the Jaguar F-Type, and I want to think of it as a human being. We saw it born back in 2013 when it was unruly and it did things that a toddler would do. It left marks on your floor and on your pants because it was rear-wheel drive, V8, and it was just a bit scary. We've seen it mature. It got four-wheel drive and grew up slightly, and now it's been facelifted, and I think it might have turned into a teenager who's going off to university because, there it is, it's bought its first suit and it's grown up a little bit more. But what I want to know is, can it still down 2 litres of cheap cider and urinate on your carpet? Let's find out. Yes, it's fair to say the Jaguar F-Type has grown up. This particular car that I'm driving today is the Heritage 60 edition, designed to celebrate the 60th anniversary of its granddad, the E-Type. Back in 1961, the Jaguar E-Type was born, and basically everyone's eyes exploded in orgasm at how beautiful cars could be. This is painted in Sherwood green, which is a colour not seen since the days of the E-Type, and you get some 22-inch forged rims. It looks beautiful, some chrome bits, some black bits, and a beautiful bespoke brown interior, caraway interior, and it costs £122,000. But really today this video is going to be about the updated F-Type R, upon which this is based, so let's get stuck in. As you're probably aware, the F-Type got its first proper redesign last year in 2020 when it got these new kind of squintier headlights. It looks like it's peering into the sun looking for, I don't know, what do Jaguars look for? Ocelots or something like that. But actually it looks a lot better in person than in the photos. When I first saw the press shots of this last year, I was a bit like, it's modern at the front now, but a bit, well, still the old shape at the back. But hey, I quite like it, and in metal I think it looks rather nice. There's some new details as well. You used to have the word Jaguar here, you've now got the classic Olipa motif, and in the flesh it's a lovely thing actually. What do you think? Do you prefer the old one, or does the new one smash it in the face? Tell me in the comments. The back of the updated F-Type got the same slimmed down, compressed treatment that you got at the front, so the tail lights are slightly narrower and a bit more eye-pacey. Still got quad tips to show that you've got the V8 one. You can no longer get a V6. It has been shot in the head out the back of Gaydon. There's a 4-cylinder as well, which is obviously the entry point of the range, and some say the dynamic choice, but I like the noise of the V8. The boot is still not very big. It's about 200 litres, but actually it's a little bit better than I remember. The coupe is obviously a lot bigger, the boot space, and if you fold the roof down, the boot space actually stays the same, which is quite rare. I've got tripods and stuff in there. It's a shame it's not a bit bigger, because this is actually an exceptional grand touring car, a GT, so it'd be nice to be able to pack in a few more bottles of wine from your favourite French vineyard, but you can't. It's cold. Let's look at the inside of this car. Brrr. I'm surrounded by dog walkers. I don't know if you can see, but it's got an emergency boot release inside. How are you going to get stuck in there? I don't recommend this car for smuggling people across borders, unless they're like, I don't know, pygmy goats or something. Yeah, it's probably for America, that, isn't it? Because Americans seem to get stuck in boots more than any other nation. Brrr. Don't know why I thought it'd be any warmer in here. It's convertible. I'm not very clever. The updated F-Type, it got an improved interior. The fit and finish of the materials is noticeably better. Metal paddles are amazing, they always were. Design is still the same, so you've still got this oh Jesus slow down handle. You've got 12.3-inch digital driver's display, and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are both standard. Now, because this is the 60th Heritage 60th edition, you've got this two-tone ebony Windsor and caraway leather. Black and brown, it's very nice, and it's all got this hexagon stitching. This car's actually finished in a separate factory to the regular F-Types. It's taken to the SVO Bespoke division, and they do the interior, and this is one of 60. It's a limited edition, so you won't see many of these around, but the standard F-Type R is still lovely inside. This has just got a few more bespoke boutique-y finishes. Right, can we go and drive it? Because I'm freezing my nads off, to be honest, and I haven't got any hair to keep my head warm either. I might put the roof up. Right, let's get on with the driving the new updated F-Type Heritage 60 Heritage Edition. Initial impressions are, this car rides really quite nicely. I know it's a boring thing to say if you're coming at this thinking it's a sports car, but it feels comfortable like a GT car. It's got nicely well-rounded dampers. You can flick it to dynamic mode, and it has got dynamic dampers, so it does get stiffer when you put it in that mode. But just in regular pottering about mode, it's very comfortable. It's a lot more comfortable than the BMW M5 that I drove up here in. That would have broken my neck over that cattle grid. This is comfortable and refined. The convertible's quite quiet actually. I was on the motorway in this earlier, and you could do long distances in it. It's nice. The steering is actually a little bit less vague than I remember. It's just, I don't know, the whole chassis of the car really works on bumpy British roads, and you don't get thrown about the place, and you can actually put more power down than you would think. The 5-litre supercharged V8 in this has 575 horsepower, 0 to 60 is in 3.5 seconds, and a top speed of quite a lot. I can't remember, it's probably quite close to 200 miles an hour. But to be honest, it just works brilliantly in the real world because it's supercharged. The throttle response is pretty damn near instant, so when you put your foot down, you go. I'm not going now because I'm at a traffic light, but I'll show you that when I get to some twisty roads in a minute. I shall see you then. And then we can talk about the noise as well, which is fantastic. Okay, now I'm on a twistier country road where I can go a bit faster, put it into dynamic mode. And the first thing you notice is, well, the abruptness of the gear shifts in dynamic mode. It does that proper comedic thump you in the back thing. It's completely unnecessary, but it's a lot of fun. Also, you still get an amazing bark out the exhaust on the upshifts. You don't get all those over-the-top pops and bangs that you got in the original F-Type. That's all been emission regulation out of existence, like the V6. But you still get some drama, and I can't think of a V8 I've driven in the past 2 years that sounds this good. And there's a speed camera, which brings me on to my next point. It's very fast. Is it too fast for the road? No, obviously that depends on how you drive. The beauty is the supercharging means you can make the most of the performance at pretty much any revs, so you don't have to be thrashing nuts off it. Right, oh, there's a bridge. Do I do the childish thing? Yes, I've got the exhaust in loud mode, of course I have. I wonder if you'll be able to hear this, or if my microphone will just distort into oblivion. Right, the handling then. It feels like Jaguar's done some decent work with the dampers on this car because it works with the road. The old F-Type always just seemed to pummel the road into submission and yet still felt quite skittish, especially the big power V8 ones like this. This, it just grips and goes and it doesn't jar. It's actually got a really, really impressive ride, and that translates into being able to use more of the power more of the time. Really quite good. Turning is good. I have to say the new steering wheel is much thinner than I remember the old one being, and that's really improved the way it feels. Obviously the F-Type's always been a bit heavy, and that is still the case, but on the road I don't even think you notice it very much. Even when you're braking from silly speeds, it feels really planted and really stable. Obviously it is damp at the moment, so I'm not hooning it about sideways, but it does feel like a nice sporty GT. It's not as sharp as something like an Aston Martin V8 Vantage, but the steering is good, it turns in quickly, and then it just encourages you to get on the loud pedal. Right, that's probably enough waffle about the driving. It's been a lot of fun, it's been a lot of noise. Let's go back to you, Tim, for an outro. So to answer my original question, is the Jaguar F-Type still relevant in 2021? Yes, and I'm really glad it's still here. The V8 sounds amazing. It's one of the last great sounding V8s you can get. The supercharging just helps. It's got none of that turbocharger muffledness, and it's compliant. I think Jag softened it and actually made it more of a GT, sporty GT car than an outright sports car. It's never going to be a track weapon. It's just too damn heavy. And it works on British roads. It's really compliant. If you want a cheap F-Type, you can get the £54,000 four-cylinder one, which is actually pretty good and handles really sharply. Or as the middle of the road, £75,000 450 horsepower V8 one, which is probably where I would go. This 575 horsepower 100 grand one, it's just a lovely excess, isn't it, the F-Type R? I like it. I'm glad it still exists and it does still feel relevant. I would possibly have one over a 911. Certainly on British roads, it's quieter road noise wise and just a bit more livable, to be honest. I can't believe I'm saying that, but there we are. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit my bell, and I'll see you next time.